G'day listeners, today we're here with Jay Iwasaki. He's the local councillor for Bulleke-bek within Marybeck in Melbourne. Bulleke-bek is Brunswick, yeah. So we're going to chat about, there's quite a lot ahead.
So much.
Well,
So much ahead.
the environment, I guess, how, local government can actually how it fits into playing a bigger part in shaping the whole world. The world is your oyster if you choose to get involved in politics.
I might tell an interesting story. I might make a joke.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Okay, so Jay, great to have you here. I was a bit worried at setting up the episode. I was missing a few pieces of equipment, but Peter couldn't help me out. But there was an honor up the road. She lent me all the webcam set up. It's amazing, like when you're down on your luck, you can just rely on just random strangers around.
You say a nana up the road?
Yeah.
Wow,
Isn't that?
okay.
No, I guess for anyone seeing our previous episode, Rachel Verstegen from the Libertarians. There were different ideas about who we can count on in society and, how altruistic people are. Would you say, do you believe in humanity, especially around Brunswick? I guess, how do you keep the motivation?
I do absolutely. I think people are more altruistic than selfish, but I also think that comes at different times and different needs. And there's, as an ecologist, you study sociality. I've studied sociality as a PE scientist, actually. And there's a very famous ant researcher named E.O. Wilson who has talked a lot about sociobiology and the evolution of cooperation and social behaviors. And you think about humans, we're obligately social species, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Most of the time, yeah.
Do you think a person has a good chance if they go out into the wild and try to live on their own completely without?
Actually, yeah, it's interesting. I was reading a book recently, you might like it. It was called The Evolution of Morality, I think it was called.
Okay. Who wrote that?
The Creation of Morality. Oh, I can't remember their name, sorry. But yeah, so their point was they were talking about like the evolution of genetics and how cultural evolution goes alongside genes. How, as you say,
It sounds like Dawkins kind of stuff.
Oh, it could, like the selfish gene, it could sort of stray into that territory, yeah. But also I was thinking, like, could it stray into eugenics? Anytime we talk about like improvement of humanity as a whole. But it's interesting, like, when you say like, would a human survive alone in the forest? Like, a similar comparison gets made, like who would win in a fight, a human versus like a cheetah? If the humans.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So in going back to that evolution of sociality, one of the concepts in this book is like that sometimes it's more beneficial to be altruistic, and sometimes it's more beneficial to be selfish.
Yeah.
When you are on the savannah with your family group, and you come across a pool of water during a drought, and there's just enough for you. Are you going to share it with your 20 family and friends?
Yeah.
Or are you going to drink it? But if it's just a bit bigger, are you going to share it? If those resources are more
sort of
available.
like with more strangers, you mean?
Potentially, but we're just talking about family groups, so relatively close-knit. But if it's just this much water, you're probably going to be selfish and drink it yourself because you need it. But if it's enough for 5 people, say, and not more than enough for you, you're going to want to share that with your family group to show your altruism, build that relationship, help your overall group survive.
Yeah.
And that kind of event would select positively for those altruistic behaviors.
Actually, it's funny you mention it. Like religion was a part of this book as well. Obviously, you're creating morality, and it's interesting. Like if you're drinking from the well, and there's not quite enough. This is where an omniscient God comes in. God will know all these sins that you got up to while nobody else was watching.
Interesting, yeah.
You also see, it's curious, a few of the videos popping up in my feed now about, they were talking about like the Shabbat elevators. There's this notion that, God is all-knowing, but you can trick him.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you heard of the elevator, by the way?
I haven't, no.
It's, they're not allowed to operate equipment on the Sabbath.
Oh, Shabbat. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like,
Orthodox Jews, I know that.
so like it's I'm not going to press the button. I can't operate the equipment.
But the elevator's already going up and down.
The elevator
automatically
just
on Sundays.
Isn't this coincidence?
I guess that's a Sabbath thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not a Shabbat. Shabbat's like Friday.
Oh, they called it the Shabbat elevator.
Okay,
I'm not
whatever.
sure. I can't check these people.
But yeah, no, it's the Orthodox thing. Anyway, we've jumped into a lot of topics right off the bat. I didn't even get an introduction or anything.
Oh no, we did that in the past. Remember? Friend, it was. I don't know if it's going to be obvious, but we filmed the intro at the end.
Okay.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it was actually, before we get too deep as well, I wanted to acknowledge a few days, unfortunately, a mutual friend of ours, John Englert, passed away. He was a very passionate campaigner for climate action, especially a whole range of things. I guess you probably knew him better than I did.
That was the last time I saw John, was having lunch
Yeah.
with him and you and I and Liz.
Yeah.
Really, really fun day. Talking about accessible tram stops for Sydney Road and walking together as a group to push for that, and then sitting down and having lunch together and talking about climate and how that all works and what we care about. And yeah, that was a really nice moment. I hope that he enjoyed and sharing with you and Liz and I.
It's it was always good chatting with John. We had a bit of a disagreement about the preference distributions in the federal election.
I think you've had a lot of disagreements with a few people about that.
But anyway, that's all in the past. But I guess but for John, I guess the biggest tragedy would be like if that was the end of all the causes he cared about. It's
Something for me when someone dies, whether it's John or I think about my father who's 90, and what happens when he passes. It's like you just want to. I feel like you just want to honor their memory by kind of continuing to be the person that they would hope for you to be and act in. And I've been working with John a lot recently on a lot of the sustainability efforts for the city. John has been a key part of the Environmental Sustainability External Committee at Bulleke-bek, and always contributes stuff for different motions or reports that are coming through that relate to climate change and sustainability. Always putting some effort and research into it so that councillors can be more informed, especially on sustainability issues.
Yeah, I really liked that. I mean, plenty of protesters, activists. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they're much more on the side of sort of expressing themselves and demanding things change, versus some of them also know very detailed facts and figures and can be a great resource.
John is always contributing really high level, good quality information, and I'm going to miss that so much because it makes the job easier for sure to have somebody who's that interested and engaged to be able to help, because there's so many things that I have to go over, but also just having kind of that kind of I guess ally for sustainability with us.
I guess as well, the people who actually come along to meetings who help, want to help the councillors as opposed to sort of grandstand and protest. I guess there must be very few sort of on the helpful side, isn't there?
Well, I wouldn't say no resident is helpful. Everyone, everyone has the things they care about that they bring to council, and it's so important for people to get that into the public space, right? Most of the time, for most people, I assume you don't really follow the day-to-day events of council, which contracts or things like that, until maybe there's something that affects you in a negative way, and you need to express that, and that's really important. But it's really nice to have also the positive side, to be engaged and help with the projects that are maybe a little less, I don't know, I think they're interesting, but maybe less interesting if you've got a busy life and you can't follow the day-to-day.
We need to have a lot of trust that the council is looking out for us. I mean, it is an important job too.
How have you been following council since you were running for?
It was. I guess for viewers who aren't quite familiar, so Jay and I actually, the way we met, we were both running against each other and other people for council, specifically for the seat of Bulleke-bek in Brunswick. I guess I didn't. What was the distribution? I mean, Greens would have been popular. Was it close?
Close? How do you mean?
Oh, was Labor like...
No, Labour came third here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Socialists were second, I can guess.
They just got into second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they squeaked into second.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder. I reached out to the Socialists as well to invite them on the podcast at some point.
Okay.
Because I guess like Sue Bolton, she wasn't in our seat, but yeah, she's been around in Marybeck for it seems like quite a while.
Yeah, Sue's really great. Yeah, we all really admire Sue and look up to her for her just the level of care and interest she has in all the community events and every council decision. She actually is doing the work, like reading everything. It's a lot of pages. And, I don't read everything. There's 4 Greens councils in Brunswick, and we kind of focus on our things. And then some things, I read as much as I can, but it's really good to be able to split into 4 people.
You signed up to so many different committees, though.
I know. Yeah. So there's it's actually really cool in Brunswick. There's 4 Greens councillors who have 4 kind of specialities that don't necessarily overlap. Interests overlap, but the specialities in terms of our professional lives, like I'm an ecologist, I specialize in sustainability. Liz in the next ward over, she's a transport planner, so sustainable transport and walkability. Ella is a psychologist, so being able to work on the social issues, young people, it really covers a lot of ground, and we can put extra attention in a way that no other group of councillors on council does. But I was just saying, Sue Bolton actually puts in a ton of effort for her issue, and I'm sure there are issues that she's more interested in, but very impressed with just the level of knowledge she has. From 16 years on council.
It's curious, actually. I was going to say, so Sue, besides being on council, she was also running in the Wills federal election. And yeah, I want to ask you about, you were doing door knocking. It wasn't just for your council campaign, was it? Like you also...
No, I helped with Samantha Ratnam's federal campaign.
So I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, so 60,000, I think, was it 60,000 doors they knocked on, or 60,000 people?
Ooh, I don't remember the exact numbers now on the spot. You got me
on the spot. Either way, like this order of magnitude.
Tens of thousands, tens of thousands.
We don't have a fact checker here.
I can get you the real numbers.
Okay. But anyway, I was going to ask, because like you see during the Teal campaigns, that seemed to, that was something very visible, that they were, knocking on the doors, convincing all these people. And I saw, for instance, Tim Wilson was also repeating that strategy, but seemed to be sort of mocking it a bit. And then I don't know how much success he had. I mean, ultimately he won, but I mean, like, how much strategy he had. If Tim Wilson, Liberal Member of Parliament, knocks on your door, how happy you're going to be. But then, because I find it so puzzling. Don't take this as a derogatory statement or anything.
I will.
How did the Greens knock on all these doors and, like, they got, like a 3% swing or something?
Oh, it was much bigger than 3%. Like, up in Faulkner, there's massive swings to the Greens. Door knocking is interesting because I've done a lot of reading on political campaigning, and the question of, so is door knocking effective?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
How come it was so more successful for the Teals? Like, because it's not the person themselves knocking every door. It has to be the volunteers.
Yeah,
do a lot of it.
You can't really compare the Teals, who are kind of like running individual campaigns per seat, to Greens running multiple campaigns in multiple seats, right? It's a little bit different.
I guess I wanted to get a bit more insight into the dynamics of like what actually happens, because
well, the Wills campaign was a massive campaign for sure, and knocking on doors. So the concept of like door knocking, right? You want to get somebody's name out there, and for Samantha Ratnam, like she's a big name already. You want to meet the people who may be winnable. You want to change their minds if they're voting on the edge, and Marybeck is a very Labour Greens seat, right? Yeah. Granted, it came down to
neck and neck. It's like 3% or so between it.
And then you want to make sure you're not like focusing on the voters that are already going to vote for you, right? Because then you're wasting time. You need to be talking to the unconvinced voters. Yeah. And then there's also the issue of how much time it takes for individual to have a proper conversation. Yeah. So there's some debate about the efficacy of door knocking and versus just sending massive amounts of mailers out, which is quite expensive.
Oh, it wasn't, Clive Palmer sending the text messages. People seem to hate that.
And that shows that strategy is completely ineffective, right? Because
I guess.
it can be, depending on what your message is.
Well, because unfortunately, people saying they hate something, that doesn't, I mean, people were complaining about Labor and they got re-elected. So, I mean, what people say they dislike, especially in Victoria.
Well, this was a very interesting election. I think it stands out that it was, luckily we had that Canadian election a month or two beforehand.
Oh, you reckon that influenced it?
Not that it influenced it, but it showed that there was a broader international pattern against Donald Trump. And so in Canada, the opposition went from being 25 points ahead to losing.
Oh, interesting.
In less than a few months. No amount of door knocking could cause that.
Yeah, wow.
That is completely impacted from Donald Trump's personal vendetta against Canada.
Well, yeah, because it was interesting. I don't know if all our viewers are Australian, probably. But Peter Dutton, the opposition leader, he was very much channeling. He set up a new Doge department himself. Or obviously the alternative one. And then suddenly when Trump becomes popular, trying to ditch it. Yeah.
You saw his face when was it just Enterprises
oh yeah,
make Australia great again, and then the floor drops out with their campaign.
Yeah,
you can see, you see Dutton's face in that one.
It's buzzing, because I guess especially minor parties have their for the Liberal Party, they should have been all over it. They have professional media training and all that.
So, but they're all in their little bubble, right? That's the danger is when you're only talking in your little echo chamber. You don't know what's going on in the rest of the world and what the people really feel.
Because I guess obviously I meet quite a few people from minor parties, including other people within Fusion. And it's sometimes it makes me cringe, the stuff they say publicly. It's hard to I mean, whenever I'm doing this podcast, there's a lot churning through my head to make sure I say the right things.
Yeah, well, do you feel that way? I'm actually your representative, Owen, too. So I hope I don't have anything in your head that you've been wanting to say to me if I've been making the right decisions.
No, I think.
Have you been following council lately, Owen?
Well, I don't come to every meeting, I guess that's interesting. Some people, like the socialists, for instance, when they're handing out flyers at the booths, they love to say, "Do you think elected officials should be on a worker's wage?" And one of the, for me, it's a red flag. Is this going to cause corruption? Because these people, especially if you want sort of high achievers or anything, are they going to quit their job, come do this civil service job? They might be taking a pay cut, and then to hear, no, wait, it's going to be an even bigger pay cut, that, deters many people.
Oh, yeah.
And
so
then
the statistics for councillors in Victoria, only 20% are under the age of 40, myself included.
Only 20%. Yeah, it should be a lot more. Yeah,
it should be. It's not representative.
Yeah,
because not. Yeah.
Oh, well, isn't that as well because it's a part-time job?
It's part-time, but I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have my partner's support.
Yeah,
I have a PhD in ecology. I should be making at least $90K a year as a postdoc in a university.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that. I'm actually, today I'm all working for free today. I just felt like I've done council stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I could not do this without the support of my partner. Yeah. And for a lot of young people who may not have that support, it would be impossible to live on a city councillor salary because it is 2 days a week you're getting paid, but I'm doing 3 or 4 days a week.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
And even if it's just a meeting on a Saturday morning, there's time that goes into organizing those meetings and logistics around them. So a 1 hour meeting is really like an hour plus of prep as well.
Yeah.
So that stuff, it's a lot of work, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad that I have my partner to support me. We've done the complete role reversal where I'm doing the housework and she's supporting me to be, I guess, doing my.
You took a time of that already. You're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm doing my passion more. I guess it's a passion more.
Yeah.
And she's doing bringing home the bacon.
Yeah. It's besides the idea of high earners quitting to become councillors or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess there's also the notion of if we think about it from the other side, someone who's not earning much money then gets elected. So they're always sort of scraping by. And then I think that is the biggest opportunity for corruption.
Well, maybe. I mean, you can put in as much time as you want. I could only show up to briefings and only vote if I was so time strapped. I could just do the bare minimum.
Well, some people do that. Yeah.
Some people do.
I think it's terrible, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't give you the most informed decision. It doesn't help hear from all the voices of the community, especially as things come up.
Well, the people who voted for them would probably be really pissed off if they found out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it depends what your expectations are for councillors. But there might be very low expectations for.
But
council.
There was something that came up on a recent episode. I was surprised that Peter seemed to very much disagree with it. But it was, I think Plato was saying that, definitely Plato was saying that you should have a society that's ruled by sort of philosopher kings, and that people should step into power because they see it as their duty, as opposed to having some sort of spoils for taking on leadership positions. And I mean, you see Trump uses leadership to, prop up some of his businesses. And then I guess this is an argument against having high salaries for politicians. The idea that you shouldn't be attracted by the salary.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I don't even know if I'm not up to speed on the state MP wages, but I mean, the private sector is more attractive for probably any government employee, right? I think the problem is when you go from government to private sector.
Yeah, exactly. The revolving door.
Yeah, that's not something.
Peter's very much against that.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me, I heard there could be a new perk for you after serving your time on council. Have you ever thought about being an ambassador?
Ambassador what?
Well, I don't know if everybody heard the news, but so, what was his name? Nick Adams. He used to be a councillor in Sydney. And then he became, he started a business in the US, became a podcaster, was supporting Donald Trump. And now he is becoming the next US ambassador to Malaysia.
That guy. And the Malaysians hate him because he said some anti-Muslim stuff.
Oh, did he? That wouldn't surprise me.
There was a protest, yeah. Yes. Malaysia has a...
Oh, the protest in Malaysia.
Yeah, Malaysia has actually a pretty large Muslim population. And this guy has said some controversial things, relatively anti-Muslim. And understandably, they're quite upset about this potential ambassador. I
was reading as well that, can you picture some MAGA loving American podcaster, pretty brash. He calls himself an alpha male. He says he has the physique of a Greek god, which he does. But, someone like that in East Asia, they're much more softly spoken and doing things diplomatically behind closed doors, but, it reminds me, Jay, you have an interesting background. What is it? Los Angeles, Tokyo, New Zealand?
I guess, very international. My father's Japanese, and he was from Japan, moved to the United States, and...
Oh, you never lived in Japan, sorry.
Oh, I kind of did, yeah. I have family in Japan, and I spent a lot of time there, because I was raised by my dad, and so actually he did a lot of work in Japan, so he pretty much had my aunt babysitting during the summer for us. My mother's American. I moved to New Zealand to do my PhD as a student, I guess. And then moved to Australia. And suddenly it's come up, I've spent a third of my life in New Zealand or Australia already. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Suddenly it just happened.
Because I bring it up because being able to see all these different cultures must give you, great insight into what parts we can change in our society.
I think, when when you travel, I guess when you travel, you see why don't we have that here? Or we should do that. And actually it's totally a thing because there's so many other places, hundreds of millions of people, billions that have solved a lot of the same issues we're dealing with that we can take good lessons from. The biggest one is Norway with their sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah.
And how come we have set up such a different system in Australia? Norwegians have trillions of dollars to support their welfare state. And we just give it to Gina Reinhardt.
It's
Clive Palmer to send us text messages.
This came up last week, actually. I'm surprised. It still doesn't seem to be common knowledge that, Australia if you sort of put climate change aside, then you could easily make the argument Australia should be the richest country in the world, not just per capita, just richest. Like already, so now the US, I don't know when they passed this threshold, but the US is now the biggest exporter of fossil fuels, especially, you know, since shale oil was developed, coal seam gas, that sort of stuff in the last few decades.
I think we talked a little bit about this, about economic complexity, right?
Who did, sorry?
You did.
Yeah.
In your council campaign.
Oh, yeah.
As one of the things.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Australia's 43rd or something in
Oh, yeah,
economic
because
complexity.
that's right. Yeah. So if you see, there's a chart of like economic complexity versus GDP. And so economic complexity is like how many industries do you have sort of thing. So if you think of like South Korea, you know, making all sorts of like high-tech gadgetry, heavy machinery, basically everything. And then Australia, you know, we make most of our money from like digging things out of the ground.
Not even refining them, just exporting it.
It's, well, because like, you know, all the steel that China needs, they make a lot of the steel. We just send them the iron ore.
Yeah.
All these, you know, Australia, I was reading the other day was something about like we can't make cans or like boxes, something that simple.
So what is your argument
But
for
why Australia?
or why is economic complexity a good thing? Because that was one of your arguments, right?
Yes, well, it future-proofs our society, and because as well, we see like this transition to clean energy. It even, you know, putting like moral grounds aside, there's many reasons to want energy independence. And so I was reading, for instance, there's
Before you go on too much, I
sorry.
think you're missing one thing. I was wondering if you were going to talk about it, and that if you rely too much on, say, resource extraction, and you don't have those other complex industries, your lobbying power is just going to be held by those extraction industries, not by the civil service, not by...
yeah, they can say like we're creating all the jobs, we're creating the wealth in Australia.
Who's donating the money to those politicians who are making the policies
Yeah.
favor? So if
That's a good point.
you're a country for economic complexity based on extraction of resources, and that's where most of your money's coming from, or a large chunk of it, and that's where your politicians are getting their marching orders from. Why would they give us a sovereign wealth fund with the royalties?
Yeah. Well, actually on that point, I heard so Julia Gillard, when she was kicked out as Prime Minister in 2013 or so, I heard that was instigated by the Americans because many of these mining companies in Australia, they're foreign owned with major American shareholders.
Okay.
And so, yeah, like the American, you know, what do you call it? Like all the, you know, whispering in people's ear. What do they call that? The lobbyists.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like all the American lobbyists were, you know, saying like you have to contact Australia to kick out Julia Gillard, and so like this mining tax that she was a fan of, as well there was the carbon tax that she was creating, which she promised not to do, but anyway, but yeah, she was gone. And
So are we talking about nationalizing the mining industry? Is that where we're going?
well, but back to sorry, I was going to bring up there's an example. This American company, Quaise Energy.
Okay.
So they're using radio waves to melt rock, and so that allows you to drill down, so 12 kilometers, get access to the super hot rock, and get access to geothermal power, basically free energy. And so I guess, you know, you're taking heat out of the Earth's core, but, you know, the Earth is like, there's a reaction going on inside the Earth, which is constantly creating more energy. I guess one day it will run out.
I think it'll last longer than the sun. So
Oh, that's good to know.
the sun's got 5 billion years on it. So then after that, it's lights
Yeah.
out.
Oh, I guess I see. That's like the first cutoff, isn't it?
That's our big deadline is when the sun goes red giant.
Yeah, it's
5 billion years.
But so anyway, the point is like free energy basically. And so Iceland, for instance, they have geothermal energy, and they're quickly improving economically. I mean, they're already a very civilized place, very socially progressive, and so like as well, Iceland is they're doing very well. But so imagine, let's say this Quaise Energy thing does work. It's going to be 100 megawatts, the pilot plant. So, you know, serious amount of energy. If that could work anywhere. Dig a hole, get some hot.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I've been to that geothermal plant in Iceland.
Oh, interesting.
It's very cool. But yeah, I think the technology for geothermal is just a bit more. Are we talking about technology, Jay? What are we doing?
Yeah. Oh, well,
curious, yeah.
Imagine how much this could change the world. So if every city could get access to geothermal power, you know, it's a lot less technologically complex than, say, nuclear power. And so as well, I've heard if we stopped burning fossil fuel for power, that would cut shipping by 50%.
Oh, yeah.
That's like why most of the ships are on the seas. And so, you know, like there would be much less influence from like the Gulf states. You know, they're doing like the sports washing at the moment, trying to, you know, if we host sports events, then we get more legitimacy in that. If we, and you know, all the constant wars, a lot of that is about resources. So yeah, like the world could be a, you know, much more harmonious place. You know, and we have the added bonus that, you know, geothermal power is carbon neutral. Oh, well, I guess there's like, you know, the installation of the plant, but like, you know, the ongoing operation is carbon neutral. So yeah, like it could really tackle global warming as well.
Yeah, I think all the solutions, all the renewable energy solutions, like solar is cheapest, you know, wind is getting cheaper, geothermal is still expensive, but I'd love to see all the things that are being tried, like tidal power.
Yeah.
There's some new concept. All those things together are going to be what? Yeah, brings it.
It's well, yeah. And so that's I think it's a real shame that when people talk about like there's so much money to be made from you know, let's say the oil and gas in Australia. Yeah, number one, they don't realise that, you know, we as the Commonwealth, you know, we're not getting much money from this. And then also, like, as you know, why are we putting all our eggs in one basket, tying ourselves to a resource that, you know, most people, you know, they wouldn't want it. Like we don't, you see, like even in Iran, you know, they want to, I guess maybe that's not the best example, but there are various like places that are rich in fossil fuel wealth that are now wanting to get into clean energy, and, you know, because, like one of the arguments is climate, another one is just like more sort of self-sovereignty, that sort of thing. But going back to the point about, you know, how much this could change the world if we could have, you know, the plasma cutting of rock. I was thinking as well, like tunnels could be a lot more feasible.
That'd be cool.
And so,
yeah.
I mean, like here in Victoria, you know, the rail projects, they're so over budget, over time.
We've got so many tunnels going on right now. There's the Westgate Tunnel. There's Northeast Link. There's going to be some tunnels.
And so, well, as well, it's if transport was a lot easier, then you know, increasingly where you live would be a lot more based on its culture as opposed to its convenience. And so
yeah, it's interesting because weren't we expecting people to start moving more rural with work from home? But
yeah, exactly.
It's not. I mean, there's some of that, but people do want to live in certain places. People want to live in Brunswick. People want to live in. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was surprised as well. You see, like Melbourne has a lot of AFL teams. So many that, you know, some of them moved to Sydney, to Brisbane. It's all, you know, Brunswick seems big enough to have one. Well, yeah, like, you know, Carlton down the road. Like,
sure.
What could be like, you know, could Brunswick have the most famous, like, say, breakdancing troupe? I mean, Australia's good at that.
Yeah, that is a good question. What should Brunswick's economic complexity look like?
Oh, I was thinking more like, how do we keep Brunswick as a place where like it has the culture that people want, as opposed to just it's 20 minutes from the city. It's actually, I was before I was buying this apartment, one of the other ones I was looking at, you know, the auctioneer, he's like getting ready, you know, telling us why it's so appealing to build this, to buy this nearby townhouse, and he's saying that you know, it's so convenient, like, you know, you just get on the motorway and it's 20 minutes to Crown. Isn't that what you do on your weekends? You know,
Crown.
Hit up the casino. Yeah,
seriously.
That's what he said.
that is out of touch, right? That is out of touch with your buyers. What kind of emotional intelligence was there?
I don't know. Australians can probably picture this guy already, but you know, he's got on like, you know, what is it, like the 3-piece suit with the vest? He can smell his cologne from the other end of the property. You know, the extra shiny belt buckle and everything.
Can I say real estate agents are parasites, or is that too controversial?
No, let's move on from that. I don't know how many real estate agents are going to be listening, but yeah, it's just thinking back locally again. So there was a controversy I read about the council messing up for years, fining people the wrong amount for parking.
Very boring.
Which, well, I think it was too low, but I guess you need to. How are you going to fine people sufficiently now? Because isn't that a quick source of revenue?
How are you gonna? Sorry, say that again.
Well, because the council has to like repay all these parking fines now.
Yeah.
But you can still, fine people for other reasons, make up the revenue.
Oh, so yeah, this is like, it's actually a really boring kind of thing. It's like there's a bureaucratic mishap basically. There's supposed to be a line in a line passed every year that allows council to charge $50 extra for these things. So state government allows councils to charge $40 up to $99 if they want for certain parking fines. And you just need to put in like a permission, pass it as a resolution. And that was done. And then it was accidentally taken out. And then it was accidentally realized, or it was purposefully looked into and realized that this hadn't been approved every year since 2012. So it turns out like, yes, there's overcharging of up to $59 on top of tickets that were legally issued. So there are people who did break the law.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that amount of revenue is significant. Yeah, for sure.
Millions of dollars, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, we'll see what people. You just have to put in your license plate into the city's service if you feel like you've been overcharged, and it'll automatically refund you. You need to put in your license because it doesn't know who owned, or not your license, but your rego, because it doesn't know the records aren't kept. Like
who owned it? Oh, that's curious.
Like actually, if you pay your parking fine, there's no record of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not kept in a big database or anything.
Yeah.
And then also you may have sold your car.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. You can't just refund it directly to the person.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah,
I guess we're a small guy. I wanted to chat about finding people for a cat curfew.
Oh, okay.
Could be nice.
Cat curfew's coming up, yeah.
Oh, it is?
Well, it's being discussed, yeah.
Oh, great.
And it's a controversial one. So I've actually rescued a cat outside my apartment over on Bree Street. And when I took this cat to the vet the next day, I wanted to keep this cat.
Wait, can we clarify the rescue? So you
there's a cat outside my apartment.
You didn't just take someone. Okay.
11 o'clock at night, there's a cat meowing.
It was definitely like stranded. It wasn't just.
Well, I went down. Yeah, no, I went down and didn't have a collar, and it came to me. It was a very sweet cat. Clearly somebody's pet.
Yeah. So
it was a very sweet thing that we took to the vet. Very sadly, found it was chipped, and it turned out that the owners of this cat lived a couple of kilometers away and had protested the cat curfew that council looked into before.
Oh, wait, sorry, you recognized who this person was?
They were talking about council stuff and.
Oh, on their Facebook page and stuff.
No, we were just talking.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But it was a bit ironic because if there was a cat curfew, they wouldn't have lost their cat during that storm.
I guess though, in terms of the controversy, I guess the one side is obviously like I should be able to do whatever I want, and the other side is it's unfortunately not common knowledge, but the average domestic cat in Australia kills 26 mammals per year, plus all the birds. Every year, 26 mammals dead.
Literally billions of wild animals are killed every year by feral cats around the world. Billions of wild animals. And there's not that many wild animals left.
And I guess as well, people say, especially around here in Brunswick, they love talking about like, oh, isn't it a shame, like Aboriginal people had their land stolen. Like, why do you keep making it worse? Like, why can't there be native plants, native animals here?
Well,
these people, they have the crocodile tears, like, okay, sure, asking you to like, move home, physically give the land back. Sure, that's a tall ask. But in terms of just keeping Australian nature healthy, that seems pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess it's a similar thing in New Zealand, where I used to live. It has the highest per capita cat ownership in the world, and a lot of them are outdoor cats. And
in New Zealand?
In New Zealand.
Oh, okay, wow.
And all New Zealand wildlife is very naive. And
there's so many flightless birds.
Exactly. So cats and stoats have wiped out New Zealand wildlife, basically. And same here, our mammals are so sensitive. They're just naive. They're placental. They have slower metabolisms. They did not evolve with. I guess they are.
Oh, they can't go running around, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Marsupials have lower metabolisms. They are generally outcompeted, and they have been outcompeted by placental mammals like cats in all over the parts of the world. Yeah, it's just it was a selective thing. That's why Australia, being isolated, kept all its marsupials.
Yeah.
It didn't have as many. It didn't have those predatory placental mammals that could really catch them.
It's curious. Yeah, I've heard a friend was telling me that basically Australian animals were just less evolved. Because
I hate to say less evolved because everything's been evolving the same amount of time.
I guess he was saying that like I think South America was arguably where they're most evolved.
So yeah, it's a very tricky thing to say because there's nothing that's less evolved than anything else because everything has been evolving for the same amount of time.
Yeah, sure, but like, what are the sort of complexities you build up?
Yeah,
how resilient do you become?
Those complexities relate to the amount of competition between those species that are put into very high competitive situations where they have a little mini arms race against each other.
Yeah.
Metabolism is one thing, efficiency and resources extraction, that's another thing. And Australia is also like has relatively low productivity, very poor soils, less rainfall than other places. So the habitat in general is much more fragile.
Yeah, it's so much more desert. Yeah, I was reading actually in China there's like serious efforts underway to I don't know what the word is, but replace desert.
The green wall.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Australia is not so much desert. It's arid, but it's not proper desert in a lot of the interior.
Oh,
well, it's a big difference, but because there's still a lot more wildlife than people think. But it's also very fragile to disturbance, and actually the interior has a lot of cattle grazing, very destructive. So yeah, all those things together, it's very difficult. So going back to cat curfews, this concept of keep your cat inside, especially at night. They will eat native wildlife. They'll eat everything. They will.
They don't even necessarily eat it.
That's right.
Yeah, they just kill it and leave it there.
And a lot of people think their cats won't do it, but there have been a lot of studies. I used to study at the University of Otago where there are people who put cameras on their pet cats, and it turns out
cameras.
Actually, cameras. Yeah. And and GPS receivers. And it turns out their innocent Fluffy has done some murder.
It's outrageous
in their spare time. Yeah,
it's because I was thinking as well. So Socrates, he makes the case that morality is essentially knowledge. That basically you could say that people commit immoral acts because
they don't know.
They just don't know any better. They don't know the full implications.
Once you eat the apple of knowledge, then
I guess Oh, is it knowledge? I thought it was thin.
Was it? I thought it was knowledge.
Oh, was it? I see.
I should have knowledge.
Maybe I should read the Bible.
I don't know either.
But anyway,
but this isn't your audience anyway.
I don't think so. Actually, we should. I don't want to. This isn't meant to be just an echo chamber.
No, we're having a lot of fun.
Yes. If we have
what are you going to challenge me on?
Oh no, I was thinking like Family First. They're the most Christian party in Australia. Okay. I would have them on. But there was
But you there?
Yeah, no.
But that's the other thing. When we were talking with John before John passed away,
John Englert, yeah.
John Englert, we were talking about how even though it's important to give airtime to different perspectives, to be truly equivalent, John said, if you want to have a debate between climate supporters or climate deniers, you need 99 climate scientists for every one climate denier.
Oh, yeah, I see his point. You don't want to, I guess, like...
It's a false equivalence sometimes.
You don't want to treat someone as legitimate just because it's the other side of the argument. Yeah. Like, you should help to clarify...
But I mean, you can give that one person legitimacy, but you also need to represent the real evidence there, which is 99% of climate scientists who believe in climate change.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like that argument because, someone like Galileo, for instance, talking about how what was it specifically? Something about the sun and the earth.
Well, yeah, the earth revolving around the sun.
Yeah. Like that was accepted.
I see what you're saying, but now with hindsight, we know that he was right. And so he's the factual side.
I guess
the church wasn't a scientific, Science is different than...
No, what do you mean? The church did. The church was involved in science, especially the Jesuits.
It's not real science, though.
No, it was.
Well, if they were, they would have supported Galileo. Like, some things, yes, science when it supported the church's words.
I guess it's more, during COVID especially, there was this idea, like, you shouldn't trust the science. Like, you should trust science, but if you're trusting the science, that sounds a lot like ideology, really.
What is the science?
Well, what you're allowed to say. I mean, I was in America during COVID, and I remember distinctly there was Anthony Fauci, the health guy. Him and all these people were on the news saying, like, don't wear masks. We're not sure if it works or anything.
Well, that's the thing about science, though. It changes.
This changed in 2 weeks. So they went from don't wear masks. 2 weeks later, everyone has to wear a mask. And no, we never said not to wear a mask. We never said that. It's
Well, the thing about science, right, is it's not an ideology, because if you have evidence, the status quo will change with your evidence.
Eventually, yeah.
I mean, there is an argument that, like, sometimes it doesn't change fast enough, or there's institutionalized researchers who don't change their opinion until they die. Like, things don't change until those people are kicked out, because they're the ones who are maybe gatekeeping that topic.
Well, yeah, I was reading a book by Steve Keen, an economist, and he was saying that economics compared to the other sciences, like in physics or whatever, like a new theory comes along, people are resistant, and basically you have to wait for the old physicists to die before the new theory gets adopted.
Yeah, but really science doesn't care about you or what your ideology is, or if you try to suppress it.
Well, exactly. That's why the truth eventually wins.
Yeah.
But versus in economics, a lot of it is focused on events like in time. So if you think of like the global financial crisis in 2008, for instance,
Well, economics is not a science.
Well, like, isn't it because they don't do a good enough job? They don't have that rigor to make it a science.
It's because, like, science is... People don't realize that they do science every day. Like, if you have a flashlight and the batteries go out, and you don't know if it's the battery or you don't know if it's the lamp.
Oh,
the light bulb, and you change the battery because that's your theory. But then the flashlight doesn't turn on, so you got to change the light bulb, and then you figure out that's literally just all science is. It's testing things out. This is my theory. It's changed. Okay, it doesn't match. Try again. That's all it is, right?
I see your point.
But you can't do that with economics. You can't do that with a lot of things. Elections, it's a single experiment.
Well, sure, it's hard to run an experiment. Hang on,
No, all I'm saying is economics is not a science because you can do repeatable experiments. There may be things in economics where you can do individual experiments that you have controls, you have experimental outcomes, you can change different parameters and figure it out. But for something like the global economic crisis or something like that, it's one event. You can't go back and replicate it. You don't know. You can never figure out really what the things were that led to it.
Sure, but
and there's a lot of everything in economics. We're coming up with theories that explain that, but are very difficult to test.
We can. I guess you're saying we can't call it a science because they don't run experiments. At the end of the day, they're still trying to come up with explanations for how things work.
But science is about trial and error, really.
Well, I don't think that's.
Well, that's the definition of science: the scientific method.
Okay, you have a PhD.
Well, what is the scientific method?
Yeah, sure, but
so that is all sciences is the scientific method.
Well, I mean, but like I feel like the crux of it is like understanding things. Like that's the goal.
That's not at all what science. Well, I mean that's what some goals are, but you end up understanding the system you're looking at. But all it is a method, right? The scientific method, repeatable, neutral, non-biased steps to figure something out.
Anyway, why I brought this up. So in physics, people die, the new theory gets accepted. But Steve Keen was saying in economics, since it's based on an event in time, people come up with the explanations why the global financial crisis happened. And then there's sort of no real settlement, and then people just move on to the next.
Well, yeah, there's another thing going on.
Yeah, so it never gets resolved. And
well, that's where science can help sometimes. You can build a model and run what you have to do to really figure out the reasons behind something happening in economics or something is to build a bunch of models and see which one matches most closely and what those parameters were. But you still don't know because you can only run the real world once. You can
well, actually, It's in there somewhere. But yes.
Wait, are we in a simulation right now? Is that what's going on? Is that what you're
No. I meant in the model in Steve Keen's book. It's in my cupboard.
Okay.
But yeah, he had there was a graph. Like he came up with an explanation for why the global financial crisis happened. It was something about like debt ratios and household debt.
Could be.
GDP. Yeah.
Well, how can we test that?
Well, he's predicting another one. He's predicting another recession. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's I'm reading a book at the moment actually, also on finance, by Ray Dalio, Bridgewater Capital, and it's fascinating. He's talking about the business cycle of like boom and bust, but then he's saying there's like 5 or 6 in a grander cycle, and we're coming to the end of the grander cycle, and that that has an interplay with like geopolitics is also tied up in it, and they're driven by changes not just in themselves, the cycle, but also technological changes really influences it. And environmental events also help like trigger things. And so, I mean, so, climate change is going to be, hugely disruptive. It's already, becoming so. I guess, when we were talking before about, the energy independence, moving more towards geothermal power, I guess, during the federal election, people were asking the Liberal Party, where are you going to put the nuclear reactors? If Melbourne could get access to geothermal power, would we be prepared to have some in Bulleke-bek, I wonder? Some of these holes.
Well, I don't think they need to be, do they?
Well, they need to have a hole somewhere.
Oh, yeah, but they don't need to be like in the city.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, because it's such a shame, like one of the big things holding back the rollout of clean energy in Australia is, people on farms protesting, I don't want to see solar panels, I don't want to see power lines. Yeah. I don't want to see the wind turbines, even though they probably have a windmill themselves on their own property. There was, I think as well, some of the environmentalists, I think unfortunately they're doing themselves a great disservice. There was, who was it? The Australia Institute. Yeah. They sent out an email, I think it was shortly after the election, saying about how some oil and gas company was going to build this offshore rig near the 12 Apostles, and like what a shame it was to tarnish the landscape being able to see this. And I thought, wait, there was remember in the Illawarra there was this big protest about like people can see wind turbines off the shore. I think actually like you would barely be able to make it out.
It's funny, it's kind of a value thing, because when I see wind turbines I'm kind of happy, and when I see a big oil rig I'm just sad.
But I mean, either way, if they're going to make the argument,
but it's a value thing
as you can
too,
see
right?
it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like there's value. But when I see an oil rig, I'm like, oh, that's potentially very damaging to a lot of marine life, or that's directly potentially damaging, and also indirectly damaging.
Or heating up the world. Yeah.
Yeah. When I see a wind turbine, I see the opposite of that.
Oh, but like that is very I guess like what you're conditioned to see. Yeah.
I guess so, but objectively, you can say the wind turbine is providing energy without destruction in the same way, and I see an oil rig drilling, and I see, that's providing energy in a very destructive way. Yeah,
I guess some people might argue that the wind turbine is causing destruction by what they argue is higher energy prices, power lines, that sort of stuff. Yeah, there was I won't name the party just so I can speak more openly about it, but I met one of these supporters. They were telling me that wind turbines actually take up more area than you think, and it's not just that the base is very large, but also that's a circle, and they cut a square around it, so it's more space than you think. And the sheep near the wind turbines, it turns them gay.
Wow, I did not know that.
I said that. You could have offshore wind turbines. Oh, that disrupts the plankton.
One of my favorite things, you have all these status quo things like coal power that people just accept. This is how it is, and there's nothing better. Coal power plants have released far more radioactive elements in the atmosphere than all the nuclear accidents in the world.
Yeah.
And that is just something that happens. And mercury and arsenic every day.
Yeah.
But it's the status quo, so it's just forgiven.
Well, yeah, you see actually as well, like the air pollution, I guess people might not know, like how does air pollution actually affect people's lives? But yeah, they have heart attacks sooner in life. They die earlier.
But it's something that's already there, so we just kind of forget it.
Yeah.
But a new thing, a new wind turbine, a new solar plant, like, now I can complain about the negative impacts here. And there may be some, like, sure, like, nothing is perfect. It takes up land, etc. But like at the same time, we're always doing cost benefit of the way we live our lives. And yes, we are grossly over extractive on the planet in general. So
yeah, actually, in terms of the trade-offs and all this, there was viewers might have heard of the Great Western Energy Hub. It's a
is that a hydrogen thing?
Yeah, so the idea is they're having an enormous solar array and wind turbines. I think it was something like 3,000 wind turbines, if I recall correctly. They were going to, so the current Australian grid, I think it's about 15 gigawatts at the moment. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, this proposal was going to be 100 gigawatts.
Was this to send power to Singapore?
No, that's something else. This is going to be on the coast of the Southern Ocean, near the South Australian, Western Australian border. So it's still in the proposal phase. So there's going to be 10% shareholders is going to be the Aboriginal group there. These are the people that the decision is currently waiting for, I believe. But then a Greens member in WA was publicly opposing the project, saying that it's going to disrupt the caves. This is in a desert.
Well, the Nullarbor is a pretty... I'm not taking a position because I don't know what the details are, but the Nullarbor between South Australia and WA is a very special kind of area. It's called the Nullarbor. No trees, null arbor. And it's a massive limestone kind of system underground. There's lots of cave systems. There's a lot of unique species to that area. It is a big area, but I don't know where this hub is, but...
So the proposal is, so this enormous amount of power is going to be generated, and then that's going to be converted into hydrogen and ammonia for clean energy. These people, they said, they could have put this project literally anywhere in the world. They think this particular spot, Australia has lots of sun, at the Southern Ocean, there's lots of wind. Like this, I believe their claims that this is the best place in the world for it. And so, when people talk about, we have to have trade-offs, I can't remember the exact wording of this Greens person's criticism, but it was along the lines of like, no, that's right. He wanted to focus on like the energy needs for WA. That's what we need to focus on.
Or something.
It's, his argument is like you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, sort of thing. And that, as well, like, the unique species, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, I don't know if you're asking like my position on that sort of thing. Like,
no, I guess it would be nice if you said he's outrageous.
I don't know, but like, that's the thing. I'm very boring. I think I think everybody has some merit. Like an energy project. I don't know about hydrogen. It's still waiting to be seen whether it's feasible. Or whether it's a vessel for fossil fuel industries to stay relevant. That's another discussion.
Are you using the same equipment and that sort of
Well, yeah, exactly. I know hydrogen in California hasn't worked out. Hydrogen it's still like up and coming in Japan, but if it hasn't worked in California, not working in Japan, why would it work here? We don't have the economies of scale or the economic complexity.
Well, could it be as well? I remember, General Motors, they created, there was like a Commodore years ago, like 90s, I believe. It had a solar panel on top, and I think it was electric, and they made it, I think it was just meant to be like a demonstration. They might have sold a few thousand and then cut it off. But this is the same company. Was it General Motors who, they bought a whole bunch of the trams around San Francisco and then shut them down?
It might have been General Motors. I thought it was the bus companies in Los Angeles. Who framed Roger Rabbit, that old movie? That's kind of what it was based on. Because
interesting.
Los Angeles used to have the most extensive streetcar network in the world, and all ripped out by the bus companies potentially.
It's we were talking before about like, if you have these lobbyists in your corner, they're going to make sure everything else gets shut down.
That's right. So like, is hydrogen a vessel for these fossil fuel companies to stay relevant?
I was saying maybe they have a hydrogen trial, but the fossil fuel interests make sure that the hydrogen project doesn't work out, or just shut it down.
Well, I think it's the same companies. I don't know. Actually, I don't know who's in hydrogen. Which companies are invested in financing them? Yeah, good question.
I guess the broad point here, it's I guess one of the purposes of the show was to make sure that people realize why they need to be politically involved. There's like a whole complex world going on around them where all these forces are trying to keep them what do you call it, like living in Plato's cave. What's the living? Like
the allegory of the cave. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's sorry, how would you describe it in more accessible terms?
Complacent.
Oh, I guess more like there's all these cover-ups going on. It's not exactly like the what do you call it, like the secret society sort of stuff.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
The Illuminati aren't in control.
What's the general term for the Illuminati? Anyway, the cabal. Yeah.
Is there a cabal?
Well, it could be.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you see as well the stuff about Jeffrey Epstein as well. It's but let's get back to local politics.
Donald Trump's best friend, Jeffrey Epstein.
But
I've seen some pictures of them together.
Yeah, well, I was so surprised actually. I mean, like I already knew that they knew each other.
I already knew Donald Trump was a rapist. That's settled in court.
It's okay. I deliberately tuned out of that stuff while I was in the States because I couldn't vote. Yeah, but listeners, I am trying to encourage listeners to be thinking about politics, about how many people think it doesn't affect them. But I guess,
Why'd you ask why I got into politics as a wildlife biologist?
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But just wouldn't you agree, Jay, that many people think it doesn't affect them, but like that's because all these powerful forces are trying to keep it that way. They're trying to make it seem as though, you don't have a voice, just like stay quiet, stay in your corner.
Politics, it kind of, I hate to say it, but it kind of is everything, isn't it? Everything, what do you want to do? Do you want to drive today? Do you want to take a train today? Do you want to eat healthy today? Do you want to use sustainable energy today? All of those answers are relating to politics, right? So, I mean, like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to study? How do you want to study? How do you want to afford to study in the first place? Everything around that is a political question based on who's going to set those decisions.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing like you asked me, what is the role of government in a way? Well, government's just a bunch of people in a building, really. What is government? We kind of take a lot of things happening in the background as just how it is and don't really realize we affect those things.
Yeah.
We should have more of a say.
Is this, going back to your point about how you got interested in politics, is this related? Like how you...
The reason I'm interested in I was interested in running for politics is because I have been doing a lot of research in conservation outcomes and putting out recommendations. But I've never been the one who takes those recommendations and goes with them. I just give it to somebody and hope that they listen.
Oh, but they won't.
Well, you don't know. I mean, I'm talking about conservation issues, you're talking about pesticide issues in wildlife. Like the reality is that we have different priorities. It's not a priority to save species. We put very little investment into our ecosystems compared to road networks and highway projects and tunnels and things like that. It's not necessarily everyone's day-to-day interest, but it still is in a lot of places. In Brunswick, people really care about urban wildlife. You've talked about it. You have that going on, but that has been part of what I've researched. But until you're making those decisions, you trust that the council's doing those things or taking those into account. And for the most part, we have a really good council here in Marybeck. There may be a lot of other councils around Melbourne that the councillors don't care, don't have an interest, don't have an understanding.
Just care about completely different topics. There's one
care about just whether or not the bins are emptied quick enough or to their satisfaction.
Oh yeah, like society could aim a lot higher than having bins emptied on time.
Yeah, society could, for sure. Yeah.
There was a Labor councillor in Western Sydney. He passed a motion to ban books featuring same-sex. The books featuring same-sex parents were all banned from the council libraries. A Labor councillor It was thankfully revoked a few weeks later after public outrage. Surprisingly, he flipped.
Or he changed his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it is a shame that, many councillors getting into it for the wrong reasons.
Well, that's right. So when it comes to why I joined, I had clear reasons for my background, my understanding of what urban planning could look like, what sustainability can be from a professional standpoint, and the ability to run for council. Not everyone does. And I joined the Greens because the Greens have the best track record on all of those things. And in the area, I met more Greens councillors who had, a good understanding of how local government works, good track record of community-oriented events and considerations that were really appealing to me. If you know the Labour Party in our area of Brunswick, our Labour in our area is pretty weak. Would you say?
Oh, well, I would say, less popular, if that's what you mean.
Well, during the council elections.
Yeah, like Lambros, for instance, didn't seem to have as many supporters.
And the Labour candidates in our area.
Yeah. You see as well, I guess that you can gauge it by how many people put the signs up. Unfortunately, not many people. Well, I didn't have signs for that anyway. I didn't see many Labour signs.
So yeah, part of that is I guess I'm the kind of demographic that fits in the Greens more, and that's Brunswick. That's why. That's why we're both kind of here. That's why. That's why I got 60% of your preferences, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah. It's I definitely agree with you there. It's I guess I chose to live in Brunswick. I grew up in Sydney. I lived in the States. You had a lot of say in where you're going to live.
And that's a lot of Brunswick, right? There's a lot of new people coming into Brunswick for a reason. Same reasons.
I guess unfortunately, there's a pattern in most places, isn't there? It becomes artistic and cool, and then all the outsiders decide, oh, I want a piece of that, and they sort of gentrify it. So
but luckily, I think actually Brunswick's a little different. Gentrification isn't quite the situation here, because typically in an area that gentrifies, people get priced out of their own homes. But it's not so much that here. There's a lot of new homes being built that weren't here before. So we're in one of the densest areas of Melbourne, apartments that didn't exist. So. All this area was warehouses 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's high density apartments. So that's not the same thing as, the industrial to residential. I don't know if that counts as gentrification, but across the tracks, it's a lot of single family homes or something like that. They're not being pushed out in the same way. I think a lot of the older residents, like Greek and Italian, are naturally having turnover. But it's a little different. I like to think that it's a little different here.
Yeah. It's
not in the same not in the same negative way, but
I guess for any listeners outside Brunswick, I would vouch for the fact that Jay does seem to, keep the appealing parts of Brunswick. But I guess as well, though, with the Greens, some people might be critical. So I mentioned before, there's that Labour person pushing the ban against same-sex parents in books. I guess, would you agree that the Greens are probably the most vocal on the other side? Greens are the most vocal for social rights, especially there was sometimes you see about the rainbow crossings. People decide to fight that. I should say I felt a bit uneasy myself about. I did sign the petition, but I guess the petition to say that if I'm elected, I'll introduce a rainbow crossing, because I feel if we are at a steady state where I guess you could say gay people are accepted, then why would you sort of stir it up again? But I don't know. Is this an accurate description?
Do you feel we're at a steady state, or you feel like we've achieved enough?
I remember
when it comes to locally anyway.
I remember, because if I think back, growing up in Sydney, I remember, there was a time, maybe I was 13, walking along the Pacific Highway, a busy road through Sydney. Someone yelled out the side of the window, "Fag!" I thought, how did they know? But even then, it's still they're intending it to be a slur.
Yeah, no, I get that too.
Oh, really?
Well,
but still.
Well, I don't know, the Asian men look like relatively feminine or something like that.
But you're saying this still happens today.
Well, I mean, no, it's happened to me too. Well, I got my posters. I got some like homophobic stuff on my posters.
What, like back in October? Okay.
Yeah. Someone graffitied it over there. It was like just another Brunswick fag or something like that.
Oh,
I got
well,
that on my poster.
Well, it's what you'd think there must be an outsider who used that term.
You reckon, right?
Yeah. So I guess probably not one of your voters.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, I didn't get called a fag.
But to your point, yeah.
Do we have rights? And yeah, it's.
Well, I think even locally there is still an element of that present in Brunswick.
Oh, okay.
Right. Clearly, my sign here was defaced, and
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And in Yarra, there's some homophobic stuff on council signs too. Council.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because I guess that's probably the main criticism I hear about the Greens, like social justice warriors. Can't they focus on concrete issues?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things you can focus on at the same time. It's just kind of like when you start criticizing things. So with Rainbow Crossing specifically.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like that, the people who are criticizing Rainbow Crossings, are they doing it out of a genuine care for the roads works budget?
Oh, you see, that's the complaint they often say, isn't it? It's not, I don't want rainbow crossings because they're gay.
Is it actually legitimately, or is it a guise for homophobia or just anti-queer, whatever, like, and the anti-gay agenda?
Well, you see as well.
I would argue for that. I would argue that because you do not get the same level of scrutiny for other things in tens of thousands of dollars, a very small part of the budget. You never get the same amount of scrutiny for things that are mundane except when it comes to minority issues, right? That's where I start questioning the genuine nature of those sort of complaints, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I definitely see it as an insincere, what do you call it?
A veiled attempt.
Yeah, well, yeah, like they're lying about the true reasons. Yeah. But yeah, I see. But yeah, I guess things are going pretty well in Brunswick. What was it? Brunswick East 2 years ago. Brunswick East was named as 6th coolest neighborhood in the world by Time Out.
Nice.
I was chatting with Angelica Panopoulos, previous mayor. She seemed to think that maybe Brunswick will get the title. Sometime.
We got some work to do. We got to beautify up in the street, and Bree Street's got a master plan coming. The city's working on a lot of the local issues, Hope Street as well. So there's some things coming. Unfortunately, it is the case that development happens first and infrastructure often catches up.
It's a shame. But hey, moving on a bit, I'd like to play a game all the time with the guests.
Okay.
We have a political quote. They have to guess who said it, what they know about it. We can chat about how much we agree with it.
Okay.
There's a philosopher today. Peter doesn't like some of my philosophy quotes, but so man is not equally moral at all hours. This is well known. If his morality is to be judged by the capability for great self-sacrificing resolutions and self-denial, which, when continuous and grown habitual, are called holiness. So yeah, man is not equally moral at all hours. Do you agree with this, by the way?
Oh, well, I think this harkens back to what we're talking about when you're an individual in a family group on the plains of the savannas of Africa.
Yeah. While no one's looking, yeah.
Is it the moral thing to do would be always share water, right? Essentially.
Well, I'm thinking as well, during the federal election, a big topic, at least in Wales, was what's happening in Palestine. And all the people, they go to the protests, and what we were saying before, people say they don't like Labor, and, they end up re-electing Labor, especially, it's tough. It's a long fight.
I have no idea where that quote's from.
Oh, this is from Nietzsche. It was in this particular book was written in 1881. Daybreak: Thoughts on the Prejudices of Morality.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. I got to get more into Nietzsche. It's one of the things I think. I don't know how much you relate to this, but he talks about how early on in your life you might like to just follow the morals that you pick up around you because that's the right thing to do. But then you grow into a stage where like you set your own morality, the world's your oyster sort of thing.
Right.
And then you move into this sort of childlike state, becoming, I guess, more innocent and curious again. It's like, you know, making your life more about like you setting a purpose in life, you sort of navigating your own direction, as opposed to just I guess like sitting back and taking it as it comes. Because I remember back when I was working at the casino for a bit.
At the Crown.
Oh, this was in Sydney. The
like
Star.
that'd be really convenient.
Convenient. But yeah, I remember some of these people who had been there like 20 years or something, you know, the sort of, like, I remember them bitching about the union and bitching about their job. And it's like, you've been doing this for 20 years though. Like, if you really didn't like it, you've had plenty of time to change course in life.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also think that's a little bit easy to say, because it is a privilege to be able to shift careers.
That's true.
That's absolutely one. Because I very readily admit my privilege in being able to run for council.
Yeah. Not everyone has, I guess, the financial freedom. You have to be like a native English speaker or a fluent English speaker, you would think, if people are going to vote for you. It's I can't think of anyone who doesn't fully speak English and who's elected in Australia. There must be some. But anyway, like lots the combinations. Yeah, it's I guess you could go further. You could take on not just one role, but maybe like 5 ministries at once. If you were feeling very competent.
I've got a couple really keen interests in arts and culture, climate and nature, urban planning, and multiculturalism in Bulleke-bek. Those are my 4 portfolios, where I have briefings once a month. And then I've got 7 committees as well that I'm on.
Yeah. So I guess you sort of are becoming the Scott Morrison of Bulleke-bek.
Scott Morrison. That is brutal. What is that?
Okay. But anyway, Jay,
I got to give Scott Morrison the stink eye in person once.
Oh, where did you meet him?
It was when I lived in Adelaide, and he came to Adelaide after the bushfires in Kangaroo Island, and everyone was properly pissed off because he couldn't hold a hose, right?
Yeah.
But he came to Kangaroo Island during the bushfires, and he was like, "Oh, it's a good thing no one died. 2 people had died."
Oh,
he just didn't know that. And so some corrected him, and he's like, "Oh, I meant here," or something like that. So he couldn't even take responsibility for his own screw up.
He couldn't even say sorry. Whoops, I made a mistake. Okay,
yeah, he couldn't even do that. Too much ego, right?
Yeah.
So I was at the my partner was at a space symposium because she's an engineer.
Oh,
they established the Australian Space Agency in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for her, having a glass of water or tea or whatever, and Scott Morrison walks in, like literally 5 minutes from me. I didn't recognize him because it's not normally every day you see.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And I was the only one like in the middle, so he looks at me, and he like does like a little wave smile, like awkward politician. Here's a random
You must know who I am. Yeah.
And then I did recognize him, and then I gave him the stink eye because of KI, revenge for Kangaroo Island.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I did
mess up. Yeah.
So how dare you?
Yeah, but I guess so thinking about our listeners, people who might like to who are discovering the world.
I think this is the most important thing. So when it comes to politics, why should we be engaged? And the answer is like, oh my god, it actually fucking matters. It actually does.
Well, I would say as well, it works more than you would think.
Yeah.
You have during our council campaign, I remember. So there was this group. What was it? Better Breeze Street.
Better Breeze Block.
So there must be, I don't know, like 5 people max who are actively involved in this thing. But like all the political candidates, they send out these this questionnaire about like basically what do you think a better street is? What do you pledge to do for better streets in Brunswick and in particularly Breeze Street? Some like really thought-provoking, good questions.
They were good questions, yeah.
Yeah, because they were pressuring us to like publicize our answers, and so like if you make public promises, it pressures all the other candidates, and like if you get elected, you get held to this.
But it's not just that. It's if you're not putting your voice out there, somebody else is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the people in charge are listening to the people who are talking, and they are acting on that advice. So if you think that the system's not working or that you're not represented, and you don't participate, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because there are people who are active in everything and they're the ones making the rules, and that's probably why it feels unfair.
If you don't get involved in politics, you're complicit in your own demise.
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of, it feels a little victim blamey, but you know, I'm trying to be in a positive, like inspired.
Fair enough. Yeah, so if you get involved in politics, the world is your oyster. You can change the world for the better.
And it's daunting, right? So you're in an area, you don't know anybody. I was the same. I joined the Greens because they most represented me and they were most active. You could join Labour, you could join whoever, just, you know.
You could join Fusion, potentially.
You could join Fusion. Find whoever is active. Get a friend, get a network, start it. It's always easier to do something with somebody else. And especially when there's a team, like it helps spread the load. It helps keep you inspired, helps push yourself, and you don't feel all the weight on your shoulders. So that's where parties are useful, right?
Yeah, agreed. I think let's end on that note, shall we? Thanks, everyone.